that same night in New Orleans, the Sugar Bowl, Vinny Testaverde sacked 8 times, 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. Tennessee 35, Miami 7. Those disappointments are placed aside as the sun rises on a new season. In the next 4 months, all the contenders will be tested. Only 2 will run the gauntlet without a loss. In the season's first showcase, Testaverde throws 4 touchdown passes. Miami 28, Oklahoma 16. The Hurricanes replace the Sooners atop the polls. Alabama will move up to second, but a month later at Tuscaloosa, Penn State snaps the Crimson Tide's 13-game winning streak. The same day, the picture crystallizes further as Colorado upsets third-ranked Nebraska, the Cornhuskers' first loss. Later, Michigan is ranked number 2, standing between Miami and Penn State, but the Wolverines lose at home to Minnesota. 7 days later, Penn State crushes Pitt. The Nittany Lions are 11-0. Then on Thanksgiving night, Jimmy Johnson is without his starting quarterback. With Testaverde sidelined, Johnson turns to senior reserve Jeff Torretta. The Hurricanes top East Carolina and go to 11-0. Only Miami and Penn State greet the new year with a chance to be number 1. 2 separate paths, 1 destination. The steps along the way to a showdown. And now, as the sun sets on this college football season, all that remains is one game for the national title. NBC Sports presents the College Football National Championship. The Miami Hurricanes meet the Penn State Nittany Lions in the sun-kissed Fiesta Bowl. The ultimate game of this college football season will be played on a gorgeous night in the Valley of the Sun. As game time approaches, it's 60 degrees at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. And we're just moments away from a meeting between 2 11-0 teams ranked first and second in the country. An even dozen victories will make one of them the national champion. Good evening and a belated Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. We welcome you to a special game played under special circumstances. The 4 annual games, usually thought of as the major bowls, were unable to create a championship matchup this year. The Rose, Orange, Cotton, and Sugar all have commitments to various conference champions. They couldn't bring this pair of football independents together. But the sun-kissed Fiesta Bowl, anxious to increase its own prestige, could. So they sweetened the pot for Penn State and Miami. NBC moved the game from New Year's Day to primetime the next night, and a unique college football showcase has been created. It's certain to be one of the most watched college games of all time. To help us cover it, Ahmad Rashad is down on the sidelines with some opening thoughts. Ahmad?
Bob, you know, for a college player to play in a bowl game is a dream, but to play in a game that determines the national championship is the ultimate. Now, you would think that with all this hype and hoopla around here all week, that it would put a lot of pressure on the players. Well, I've seen some of these players during the course of the week, and I guarantee you, both teams are very loose, and the credit has to go to the coaches. Now, in the last couple of days, you've seen a lot of bowl games, and you see a lot of players mugging to the camera going, "We're number 1." That's out the window. The battle for number 1 is tonight. And at the end of this game, the players on one of these 2 teams will be able to look into that camera and say in all sincerity, "We're number 1," and mean it.
You're right about that, Ahmad. And of course, there are dozens of interesting stories on both these teams. Plenty of supporting players. Charlie Jones and the rest of the crew will tell you about them as the telecast goes along. But if you look for the single star on either sideline, the guy that most people would think of first when they think about Miami and Penn State, it's a unique combination. A player and a coach. Miami's quarterback, Penn State's coach.
3, 2, 1, Penn State national champion! What a tribute to this football team. What a tribute to his coach.
The 1986 Heisman Trophy winner is, from the University of Miami and Long Island, Vinny Testaverde.
A 60-year-old coaching legend, a fixture at his university, and a 23-year-old skyrocket of a player bound for the pros. Yet they have a few things in common, these two. Each was born in Brooklyn. Like Paterno, Testaverde was reared in a strong Italian-American family. as Vinny passed the Hurricanes to the nation's #1 ranking and himself to the Heisman Trophy. Football fans caught many glimpses of Al and Josie Testaverde sharing a season of emotion with their son.
The biggest influence has been my family and my parents. They've always been behind me whenever I needed them and whatever I did. And especially with football, you know, they've been always there for me.
My father was a great guy. He had more of an influence on me than anything.
How much of your career did your father live to see?
Oh, he died in 1955. I was just getting started. I'd been 4 or 5 years assistant coach. He didn't really. He kept waiting for me to get out of it and go on to something, you know, that was meaningful like law school. So he had a great love for the law. Worked in the courts for years as a clerk, and always envisioned, you know, the great lawyer's son. And I was going to do all the things he didn't have time to do. So he never really was crazy about my coaching.
But Papa Paterno couldn't have scoffed at this. Joe has headed fundraising drives which have brought millions of dollars to his school's academic programs, and his personal donations have run into the hundreds of thousands. And better than 80% of Joe Paterno's players have graduated.
I think a good coach has got to stand for something. And how he can get what he stands for across to people depends. Some you're a friend. Some need you as a friend. Some you gotta be a little, and that's so big. You gotta be tough. You gotta make them do things they don't want to do. So until they refine their character. They learn to go to class. If they don't go to class, they don't play. They learn to do things because they've got to do them in order to get something else.
Until Paterno, UCLA's John Wooden was the only coach ever selected as Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. SI was persuaded as much by the values Paterno embodies as by his team's one-loss record.
I'm in awe of it, really. I really am. I think that I'm only the second coach ever to get it is kind of, I went to bed last night thinking about that, and I said, hey, relax. You know, my wife used to say, look in the mirror, when I'd ask her how many great coaches there are, she'd say, one less than you think.
I'm not a special athlete. I'm just another athlete that maybe does things a little bit better than others because I've worked at it a little bit harder, but not special.
You don't think you have enormous God-given ability, rather that you've just developed what you were given?
I think God gives everybody the ability, and it's up to them to develop it from, you know, I started at a very early age, and that's why I'm able to do some of the things that I do.
Able to turn the dreams of a child into the glory of a young adult. Able to become link number 3 in the incredible chain of Miami's quarterbacking All-Americans. Able to anticipate being this year's #1 draft choice to follow Kelly and Kozar into the NFL. Let's move ahead a decade. Turn the clock ahead to 1997. Where would you like to see yourself?
Well, hopefully I'd like to still be playing pro football. And just having a good time with everything and making sure everybody around me is happy.
Fair analysis, a fair description of me and my career would be that I was a good, hard-working coach, a decent guy, tried to be a good father and a good husband, and just generally enjoyed doing what he was doing.
So they step into the spotlight again tonight. Each in his own way, the biggest star on his side of the field, but each with a view of the challenge that goes beyond the marquee.
I like Coach Paterno a lot, and I respect him a great deal, but that will not put me in awe. You know, I followed Penn State ever since I was a young kid, but, you know, I'm out there to play a ball game, and...
The problem is not just Vinny Testaverde. There's guys like Highsmith and Perryman and Irwin and Bratton and the whole bit. That's a big league football team in a lot of other places. So I don't really think we can go into this football game saying we're going to stop Vinny and and we're going to win. I think we've got to be awfully careful what we decide to do.
And there is Paterno's coaching opponent, Jimmy Johnson, leading the 97 Hurricanes in uniform tonight out onto the field. Let's listen. Buccaneers might not be watching with special interest as Vinny Testaverde plays his final college game tonight. Tampa Tampa Bay, of course, owning the NFL's #1 draft choice, and they could use it to select Testaverde. In an 11-0 season, Miami truly was never threatened. Their closest game, Week 2, a 23-15 win over Florida, but that was at Florida, and it was the Gators' first home loss since 1982. And Joe Paterno brings the Nittany Lions out. 102 youngsters wear the blue and white tonight for the Nittany Lions. In their 11-0 season, the closest they came to defeat, and it was a close call. In their 9th win of the year, they beat Maryland 17-15, and the Terrapins had a crack at a 2-point conversion in the last minute, and they didn't get it. That could have tied the game up. Well, we're moments away from kickoff. That means it's time to turn things over to our game crew, headed by Charlie Jones, who's celebrating a milestone of his own tonight. This is the 20th bowl game Charlie has worked on network television. And Charles, I would guess, and it's a safe guess, this is the biggest of all. Let's go up to Charlie Jones.
This bowl game entirely different than any other of the bowl games that I have covered. The reason? This is for a national championship. Usually a bowl game is a reward to the players. Have a good time, enjoy yourself, and then try and win the ball game. But with a national title on the line this week, everybody's uptight. It's been more like a Super Bowl week. And joining me in the telecast, two men with Super Bowl experience. The first, Bob Greasy.
Charlie, the thing I remember most about the Super Bowl week is you got all kinds of time to prepare. We knew exactly what we wanted to do and when we wanted to do it. And we knew what they were going to do against us. The problem being so confident, I remember on the way to the stadium, I fell asleep in the back of the bus.
Jimmy Cephalo, did you fall asleep during Super Bowl week?
I slept through a couple of the games. It's probably why we lost both of the Super Bowls that I played in. What I remember most is the tremendous hype. There's a lot of pressure on the players from their fans, their friends, their relatives, and from the media as well. I once got a phone call from a grade school teacher that said, I gave you an A in math when you were 8 years old. You owe me 2 Super Bowl tickets. These players have gone through the same thing. They want to get on and play the football game.
Speaking of the game, Bob, how do you see it?
Well, Charlie, I see two different styles of offenses. One very conservative, Penn State with John Schaefer, a leader but not a great thrower. Vinny Testaverde, big plays. Miami can go out and score at any time. Schaefer could not make Miami's team. Testaverde would not have won the Heisman Trophy at Penn State.
Interesting statement. Speaking of Penn State, they're the underdog. Can they pull off the upset?
Well, I think they can, but they've got to defend Testaverde. Obviously, they do it with 22 players. Obviously, the 11 on defense, but also the 11 on offense have to keep Testaverde on the sideline where he's safe by controlling the football as much as possible.
It's the national championship. We'll be back with the kickoff in just a moment.
Have you ever...
The Penn State Nittany Lions won the toss and elected to receive. So that means that Mark Seelig will be kicking off for the Miami Hurricanes. A look at John Schaefer, the quarterback for Penn State. And the two deep backs will be Jim Coates, number 49, and Blair Thomas, number 32. The University of Miami ranked number 1 in the country. Penn State University ranked number 2. The two head coaches. And the moment is at hand. The national championship rests in the balance. Thomas at the 14, out to the 20. An excellent return man just past the 30-yard line, where Bobby Harden makes the tackle, 17 yards on the return, and the Penn State Nittany Lions, led by their quarterback, John Schaefer, an academic All-America, with DJ Dozier and Tim Manoa, Eric Hamilton, Ray Roundtree, and Brian Seiberling, the tight end. Conlon, Morgan, Radisek, Wisniewski, and Clayton, the offensive line. First down for Penn State at their own 31-yard line. Play action. Almost sacked and then dumped. Dan Sileo. And Dan stopped. A loss of 15 yards, and the Nittany Lions in trouble from the beginning.
Charlie, Penn State wanted to change things up at the beginning, so they're going to try and throw the football, but it is Stubbs from the outside coming in to make the sack. They didn't catch the Hurricanes off at all. That's number 99, Moss, getting there first, and Stubbs taking care of it later on. Dan Sileo, a big, strong defensive tackle in the middle, had part of it as well.
Second down and 24. And Tim Manoa gets it. Carrier is number 44. Dozier then coming out with the football. They're going to mark the ball dead at the 20-yard line. A gain of 4. It's going to be third down and 20. And what Penn State wanted to do, Jimmy, was to control the ball. Here's the defense: Stubbs, Sileo, Brown, and Hawkins. And the inside pressure from Sileo and Jerome Brown. What do you expect to see? Winston Moss, George Meyer Jr., Rod Carter, the linebackers. And the secondary, Ellis, Bain, Brown, and Blade.
I think what they wanted to do is try and open it up in the beginning to change some of the tendencies they had coming into this football game. It obviously did not work on that first down play.
Upward in motion. Schaefer with pressure again, and he is wrestled down for the second time in the ball game. This time it was Bill Hawkins who got it. So a pair of sacks opened the ball game for the Hurricane defense. And the Nittany Lions are in immediate trouble. A loss of 6 is going to be fourth down and 26. John Bruno to kick. David Kintai, an excellent return man, and the Canes will start with outstanding field position. David Kintai. Kintai at the 42. Stumbles. A 43-yard kick by John Bruno. 4 yards on the return. Vernier down for the Penn State Nittany Lions. And now Miami to move on offense for the first time, led by Heisman Trophy winner Vinny Testaverde. An offensive firepower. Testaverde, Melvin Bratton, Highsmith, Irvin, Blades, and the tight end Charles Henry. Maddox, Alegna, Riccozzi, O'Connor, and Probin, Matt Patch and Scott Probin at the tackle. And there was a marker down. And a holding call against Miami, so they will start back at their own 37-yard line. Their 36-yard line, they will spot it. And it is first down. 36-yard line. First down, King. The tight end changes side. That's Charles Henry. Testaverde takes a lot of time. He gives to Bratton. And Bratton outside on the far sideline. Number 5, Melvin Bratton. Jane Conlon was the man chasing him. Let's look at that defense of Penn State. And the front three of White, Russo, and Johnson. The strength, of course, the linebackers. Graham Bauer, Giftopoulos, and All-American Shane Conlon. And problems in the secondary. 41-yard line. Cobbs, Henderson, Isom, and Johnson. The problem is they're not that tall. It's a small secondary.
That's the biggest problem they have. Michael Irvin, 6'2", wide receiver for Miami, is going against a couple of defensive backs, 5'9", 5'9", 5'10", and 5'11".
And Testaverde's first pass is on target to Michael Irvin, And Irvin has the first down. As he goes out of bounds at the Penn State 47-yard line, he picks up 12 on the play. And Eddie Johnson was the man chasing him.
And that's what Miami's going to try to do all night long, try to get the ball to Michael Irvin, their leading receiver on the year with 53 catches. Eddie Johnson on the corner. They're giving him a lot of deep support for the reason that Michael Irvin, with that great speed, runs about a 4.6 40. He told us earlier in the week, he said, you tell the people out there I run a 4.4, that's all they need to know. Actually, though, his coach told me it's more like a 4.6. But Penn State's not going to take any chances. They're going to give Eddie Johnson on the corner some deep help.
Last night, Irvin said he ran a late 4.49.
Yeah, he just didn't say how late it was.
First down. And here's Heisman. He is met by Bob White, number 34.
Brought down by number 34, Bob White.
Interesting story, the background of Bob White.
Yes, it is. Bob White grew up in Florida in a depressed area. A family from western Pennsylvania brought him to that part of the country, tried to get him an education. And Joe Paterno stepped in and said, didn't think he had the grades, but said to him, if you read a book every week or two for a couple of weeks over the summer, I'll give you a scholarship. He did it. The first book he read, Huck Finn, was tutored by Sue Paterno and turned out to be quite a student at Penn State.
8 of 2, and it's second down and 8. No score early in the ball game. Penn State stopped on their first thrust, and first opportunity as Testaverde rolls out. It is tipped in the air. It is incomplete. Highsmith, the intended receiver. And Bob White was the man putting the pressure on. So it'll be third down and 8 for the Canes.
Joe Paterno told us early in the week, if you're going to flush Vinny Testaverde out of the pocket, you want to do it early because later on he can be deadly. He also told his defensive backs to stay close because there's no guarantee he's going down when somebody first hits him. Almost a completion down Smith to Highsmith.
Third down and 8. Matt Johnson checks into the defensive set. And Trey Bauer comes out. They'll go with a 4-down lineman set. And 3 linebackers. Highsmith, the remaining back. Testaverde over the middle to the tight end, Charles Henry. And Henry down at the 35-yard line. A gain of just over 10 yards and enough for the first down. Eddie Johnson makes the tackle. And so Miami converts on a third down opportunity.
And the blitz was coming from Penn State's side. Now that's something Vinny Testaverde likes to see because he knows where he wants to go with the football. That time they sent Pete Giftopoulos, the middle linebacker, and Eddie Johnson, number 39, was forced to cover Charles Henry man-to-man all over the field. And again, that's a mismatch because the difference in height. Charles Henry is 6'4", Eddie Johnson just 5'10".
11:20, that is the time remaining. First quarter, we have no score. And the Canes on the move at the 35-yard line of Penn State. And we have flags on the field. And a little pushing and shoving. There's been a lot of crosstalk between the ball clubs this week, and we expect to see some early pushing and shoving and some jawing,
In fact, it continued coming into the stadium tonight as Penn State was getting off the bus. Miami was waiting for them, yelling and screaming and hollering, so it continued right up until game time.
Here's Jimmy Harper.
Delay a game on offensive team.
Violation of the 25-second clock, takes the ball out to the 40. It'll be first down and 15. Jimmy Johnson, head coach of the Hurricanes, 1-3 at bowl games, 0-2 at Miami. He was at Oklahoma State prior to coming to Miami. This year, of course, as you know, 11-0 with the Canes, 29-7. First and 15, and here's Highsmith. And he is hit at the line of scrimmage, ball forward for a couple of yards. Duffy Cobb, the cornerback, came up to take him down. Giftopoulos was also there. And they're going to mark it about the 38-yard line. So it'll be a couple, and it's second down and 13.
This is dangerous territory for Joe Paterno. Miami, with the kind of firepower they have, second and 13, you say fine, but they are at the 38-yard line going in. They can gamble and do a lot of things in this situation. It's difficult to call a defense when a team is inside your 40.
Penn State showing the blitz, and it's coming. There's pressure from the outside, but the pass is to Highsmith, spins away. And he got away from the hero, Marcus Henderson, and picked up 3 or 4 more yards, a total of 10 on the play. It's shy of the first down. As Isom and Eddie Johnson make the tackle.
Charlie, one of the things that the Hurricanes are doing is throwing short passes, and they're doing it not to get Vinny Testaverde into the game, but to ease their offensive line in. They knew that Paterno was going to try a lot of different blitzes. He went back and got the game film from the Sugar Bowl last year where Tennessee did all kinds of blitzes. against Testaverde. What he wants to do is ease his offensive line, and he feels like there's a mismatch in the offensive line of the Hurricanes and his front 7 players.
And Bob, there was a player change as Tim Johnson went out and Pete Kirkendall came in, I believe, for an equipment change on the far side.
Well, one of the reasons that Penn State is going to keep switching their defensive linemen, they want a lot of fresh people in there because they know Testaverde has a great deal of mobility. They want to keep those people fresh so they can continually try to put some pressure on the Miami quarterback.
3rd down and 4. Testaverde rolling right. Lots of time. He throws deep into the end zone. And it is incomplete. Brett Perryman is trying to hang on to the ball, and 1 foot in the end zone, and he couldn't do it. Duffy Cobb has the coverage, and it's going to be 4th down. And we look to see if Mark Seelig is going to come in on 4th down and just under 4, and they're going to go for it. 4th and 4, 9:39 is the time, first quarter. Testaverde over the middle, tipped, it's incomplete. Henry, the intended receiver, the tight end. The Nittany Lions hold. Giftopoulos for Penn State makes the play, and Penn State takes over on down.
An interesting call on the part of the University of Miami. It just shows you the great confidence they've got in Testaverde and on their offense. Mark Seelig, their field goal kicker, they have not been pleased with his work so far. It was going to be a long field goal, but they should have had the completion. The ball is dropped by Charles Henry, the tight end, and they sure enough could have had the first down well inside of Penn State territory. We'll be back in just a moment.
Not only confidence in his offense, but I think confidence in his defense. On the first 3 plays that Penn State ran in the ball game, John Schaefer was sacked twice. Dancilio 1 time and Bill Hawkins the other, and the Nittany Lions 2nd time on offense from their own 29-yard line, no score.
Water. There's a water bottle.
DJ Dozier. And Dozier is wrapped up at about the 34-yard line. It'll be close to 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as Benny Blades was there to make the stop for Miami.
Now I think you'll see a more normal Penn State and Miami offense coming in. The Penn State try the 2 passes, but that's the man that'll be carrying the football most of the time for Penn State tonight. He had about 800 yards this season off of 4 years ago. As a freshman, had over 1,000 yards, but was injured much of the time. He changed his style from the big power kind of a running back to a more of a slasher. Now he says he's back on track trying to run people over. We'll find out if that works tonight.
2nd down and 5. Eric Hamilton in motion. And Smith dives to the 45-yard line. He's got the first down. A gain of 10 yards on the play.
And that football came out right at the end, Charlie, and they ruled that he was down before the fumble occurred.
Benny Blades was there for Miami along with Selwyn Brown.
All right, Penn State, the other thought is to try and keep their running backs fresh. There you see the block on the corner by number 42, DJ Dozier, allowing Smith to break around the corner. He's a smooth running back, and he's powerful enough to try and push some people around inside.
Penn State with their first down of the ball game. With a swing left flat, it is over the head of Steve Smith, and it is a forward pass, so it is incomplete. And Bill Hawkins was there for Miami. And it is 2nd down and 10 at the 44. A shaky start for John Schaefer, the quarterback.
Well, he is 65-1 since his 7th grade as a starting quarterback. The only loss, of course, coming in the biggest football game he had played in, that is before tonight's contest last year against Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Did not perform very well, threw 3 interceptions.
Don't let that number run away from you. 65-1.
65-1 since the 7th grade
as a starting quarterback. 2nd down and 10. And we've got flag. And we've got a procedure call against Penn State. So it's going to be 2nd down and 15. So you would think that the Penn State Nittany Lions, with a total of 17 seniors, starting offensively and defensively, movement in the offensive line, and only 7 senior starters for Miami, that Miami might be the team that is uptight at the beginning. But thus far, it has been Penn State.
All week long, they've been loose, and he's probably been the loosest of them all. He's a very quiet leader. When you take a look at Benny Testaverde in meetings and in practices, very quiet, but you always watch the other players going to Testaverde, standing around him, just getting close to him, because he is the man with the talent and the one that drives this team.
2nd and 15. DJ Dozier to the 49-yard line. He'll pick up 10. And it's going to be 3rd and 5 as Winston Moss is the man who made the stop.
All right, from ground level, DJ is going to come right into your living room with a nice block from number 57, Chris Conlon. Watch him coming downfield. There he is following the tackle in front, that block on number 91 on the corner. That's Rod Carter, allowing DJ Dozier to get upfield and get the first down.
Jerry Hugg checks in as a wide receiver for Penn State.
Excuse me, it's 3rd down, not first down.
3rd down and 5. Schaefer to throw, has pressure, and the pass is incomplete. Seiberling would have been the intended receiver. He was bumped at the line of scrimmage and knocked down. There was no flag. It'll be 4th and 5.
Penn State seemed to be trying to run a pick play. Schaefer does like Seiberling, the tight end, crossing across the middle. In that time, the defensive player running to carry and cover his player going the other way had no idea that Seiberling was coming toward his side. That's number 96, Dan Stubbs. You see, he had no idea that Seiberling was in his path, so no interference was called.
Bruno kicking to Kintai. There's pressure. He gets it off. Kintai a fair catch, but he wants to let it go into the end zone, but it bounces in the field of play. The ball stays at the 1-yard line. 50 yards on the kick, and it will be down at the 2-yard line. The officials say we have no score. 7:44 time remaining, first quarter. We're not with Jimmy Cephalo and Bob Greasy in the national championship on the line. Miami with the ball at their own 2-yard line. Testaverde has completed 3 of 6 for 30 yards. No score. Karpinski down the ball on the punt at the 2. And Highsmith gets the call, and the defense stops him right at the line of scrimmage. His momentum may take him to the 3-yard line. We'll mark it there. It's going to be 2nd down and 9, and Pete Giftopoulos, one of the 4 outstanding linebackers for Penn State, was there.
Pick up a 1 on the play. Ball placed down on the King's 3-yard line. 2nd and 9.
Testaverde. Greg Rucozzi is the center. And more than 70,000 fans here at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. Testaverde to throw from the end zone far side. And it is incomplete. Good defensive play by Duffy Collins. Michael Irvin, Mr. Playmaker for the Canes, the intended receiver.
That's what they call him, Mr. Playmaker. Again, notice how much distance he has to go and try and run the pattern. Just a quick turnout, but that's what Penn State has got to rely on by coming up and trying to knock the ball loose from great talented people such as Michael Irvin. You see, it's a wonderful throw by Testaverde. You need a strong arm to throw it that far to the sideline, and Testaverde has the ability to do it.
3rd down and 9. Testaverde with protection and time, and he throws over the middle to Bratton, and it is complete at the 15-yard line. It will be a first down as he picks up 12 on the play. And Trey Bauer makes the tackle.
All right, this is the way Testaverde looked at it. He bought some time at the beginning. There you see Brett, number 5, left part of your screen. Testaverde had enough presence of mind to wait for him to clear the linebacker, number 90. That's Giftopoulos. He gets the football in for the first down.
And give credit to the Canes offensive line. Maddox, Alekna, Rucozzi, O'Connor, and Patchen. They gave him that time. And a little breathing room out at the 15-yard line. No score in the ball game. 6.5 minutes to go, first period. Here's Bratton. Bratton to the 20-yard line. He picks up 5. It's going to be 2nd and 5. As the hero back or strong safety for Penn State, Marcus Henderson makes the tackle along with Shane Conlon, the linebacker. And Conlon is down. This could be devastating to the Nittany Lion defense.
They rely on Conlon for many things. He's the leader spiritually and physically out on the field for them. They move him around. They play him at a linebacker position sometimes, down lineman. Let's take a look and see just how he got rolled up on. They seem to be looking at the lower leg. There he is, number 31, chasing Bratton down, number 5. One of his own players comes from the far side, and he kind of gets leg whip from the corner.
We'll take an injury timeout with 6:14 left to go in the first quarter, and we have no score in the battle for number 1. Conlon up and walking along the sideline.
There's another look at the play. Sweep to the left side of the Penn State defense, and Melvin Bratton to chase, and it seems Duffy Cobbs, number 16, getting the leg whip. Unintentional, of course, just trying to make an aggressive play. But Shane Conlon on the sideline loose for this set of downs.
2nd down and 5. Miami from their own 20-yard line. Smith. Ball is loose. And it is recovered by Charles Henry, the tight end. The Canes retain possession at the 21-yard line.
Now, Conlon's replacement is number 84, Keith Karpinski. Let's find out if Miami ran at him to find out exactly how good of a football player he is. No, not exactly, but it is Karpinski who coughs the ball up from Alonzo Highsmith. He makes the play. And Charles Henry jumps on it for the Canes. Now, Miami's only lost 10 fumbles all year long. They are a very good team as far as hanging on to the football.
3rd down and 4. And Testaverde to throw. Has 4 on the pattern. He goes deep, and it is there. And then knocked loose. And Penn State has the ball if it is ruled a completion. It is ruled a completion, a fumble. And a recovery by Penn State. Duffy Cobbs got it.
Well, what a throw on the part of Vinny Testaverde. You'll see Irvin coming into the picture down from the corner, and this is where you want it as a wide receiver in between the zone. You better have it on the money, and it is. Now the thing is, Penn State, number 22 with the big hit for the Nittany Lions. That's Ray Isom. He plays like he's about 6'2" and runs a 4.40. The problem is he's only 5'9" and runs a 4.840.
And here's Dozier. Shut off to the right side, counters to the left, and picks up 4 to the 40-yard line, and it is 2nd down and 6.
All right, now you're the wide receiver coming downfield. You know it's a zone. You got to find the middle of it. You know you got a strong-arm quarterback, and you get it. But there's number 22, Ray Isom, who jars the football away from Michael Irvin. Duffy Cobbs, after a big scramble, comes up with the ball for the Nittany Lions.
And Irvin, of course, as you saw, did have possession. It was a fumble, and Penn State with the ball now 2nd and 6 at the Canes 40-yard line. Little play action, the reverse, Blair Thomas, and played very beautifully by the Miami defense. Rod Carter, the linebacker. The defense of the Canes, outstanding here in the first period.
Oh, they've been tremendous. Rod Carter's got outstanding speed, especially if you can run down something like Blair Thomas, who runs a 4.340, then you really have some kind of speed on the outside. He's a very good outside linebacker for the Canes. They've got 2 dominating inside tackles with Cilio and Brown. That allows people like Rod Carter on one side, Winston Moss, the other outside linebacker, to roll freely and crush people like Blair Thomas.
Schaefer's pass is complete, and it is to Dozier, the leading receiver for Penn State, but way short of a first down. Rod Carter was there for the defense.
You know, Charlie, Penn State has come out offensively and gone just the opposite what they normally do. They normally come out and run the football. The reason Schaefer has not started off hot is because he's trying to throw the ball, and it's not working. Miami has good defensive pass coverage.
And it's 4th down. John Bruno to kick. Kintai is the deep back. He wants to just hang this one. And he does inside the 10 and out of bounds at the 9-yard line. 31 yards on the placement by John Bruno. We've got a timeout, 4:04. Time remaining. First quarter, no score.
So far in this game, the fumble by Irvin. He's going to run a slant. Now watch Penn State, 3 deep zone, and Isom right in the middle. You won't see Penn State committing their deep secondary very often. They want to play deep, take away the big plays. Now watch Isom, good vision all the way. When he sees the ball caught, one of the things Paterno says, we're going to let him catch it and come up and try to knock the ball loose. They were successful on that occasion.
And Shane Conlon back in the ball game for Penn State. It's a first down for Miami at their own 9 as Alonzo Highsmith is the ball carrier. He'll pick up about 2, maybe 3. Let's see where they spot the ball. Average field position at the start of a drive, Miami from their own 16, Penn State their own 39, which points out the fact the two stars of the ball game thus far, the defense of Miami and the kicking, John Bruno, the punter for Penn State. There's Conlon back in the ball. Second down and 7. They marked it to the 12. Testaverde all the time in the war. Now he runs out of time in his drop. Don Graham got him first sack for Penn State. He'll lose 9, but he had plenty of time.
Yeah, this is not a sack on the offensive lineman of the University of Miami. This sack was created by a very good coverage scheme by the Penn State defense. Finally, the sack coming by Don Graham on Vinny Testaverde, but plenty of time for Testaverde to go downfield. There simply was no one open.
Third down and 16, the ball on the 3. Do you go to Irvin here? Do you look for their playmaker?
Oh, he always looks for Irvin. Who else do you go to? He's the playmaker. He's the guy who runs that late 4.49.
Testaverde wants a timeout. One of the things that Joe Paterno wanted to do was get inside of the mind of Vinny Testaverde to cause him some confusion. He takes a timeout. We'll be back in him. Bob Griese, Vinny Testaverde's completed 5 of 9, 66 yards.
I think he's throwing the ball too hard, Charlie, and that happens when you haven't played in a while. He hadn't played in 6 weeks. You know, he missed a week because of the injury, and also with all the awards, he missed a lot of practice. A little uptight.
From the end zone with pressure. He's out to the 5, to the 10, to the 20. Has the first down to the 24-yard line. 21 yards. It was 3rd and 16. Testaverde not with the arm, with the leg. All right.
Well, this is why he's the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, throwing the football is one thing. A lot of guys can throw it, but he throws it better than anybody else, and he's got great strength to get away from a couple of people in the end zone. If Testaverde doesn't live in a weight room during the offseason, he's tackled in the end zone for a sack, but he gets away and gets a lot of yardage. First down, getting Miami out of trouble, backed up in their own end zone.
At the 24-yard line, and he got away from Bob White, who had a shot at him. We had some jumping, and flags are down, but Bob White had a shot at him for a safety in the end zone and couldn't quite get to him. And there is Bob White, 6'3", 254-pound senior.
False start. Tight end. Out in the neutral zone.
That was Charles Henry of the Canes. Jerome Brown talking with his head coach, Jimmy Johnson. The ball back to the 19, and it's first down and 15. Five linebackers in the set now for Penn State on first and 15. And Highsmith jumps to the outside and powers for a couple of extra yards. Hit at the 25. His momentum takes him to the 27-yard line. He took Trey Bauer and Eddie Johnson with him.
Highsmith is actually a linebacker playing the position of fullback. He was a linebacker through his high school days, an All-American at that position. Growing up in Miami, came to the university, and Howard Schnellenberger turned him into a running fullback. He's got the mentality of a defensive player. He wants to attack people, run them over. He blocks very well. He does not try to run around many people. If he's got a choice, he's going to run you over.
We talked with Highsmith last night. They kind of worked out here in the evening. He said, look at my hands. He said, I have the hands of a 65-year-old man.
Because they keep getting beaten up when he's trying to run the folks down.
Second and 6. Pressure coming. Testaverde hits the open man, Highsmith, who is all alone in the right flat, and he is out to the 42-yard line. He picks up 14 yards before Duffy Cobb stops him. And Testaverde reading the blitz.
You're right, Charlie. He read the blitz. Two linebackers on the same side. Highsmith ignores them. Now, to do that, Testaverde has got to know that there is a man free, in this case, two men free. He sees the two linebackers coming. He knows the hot receiver is there. He's a first-class quarterback, and that's why one of the reasons he won the Heisman, because he makes decisions like that.
And Alonzo Highsmith takes himself out. Darrell Oliver comes in. And Bratton gets the call as Graham brings him down at the 44. Going to be second down and 7. 57 seconds, that is the time remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Kind of like the first couple of rounds of a heavyweight fight.
It is. Interestingly enough, Miami is controlling the football continually. I imagine the time of possession is heavily on the side of the Hurricanes. And that, Charlie, is something we did not expect coming into the football game. We thought Penn State would be the one controlling the ball.
Matt Johnson and Pete Giptopoulos with the tackle.
51, Matt Johnson.
But we also felt that the Canes would have a quick strike offense, and they haven't been able to put back-to-back big plays together.
Well, they failed on the fourth down situation early in the first quarter and had to come from deep in their own territory the last two possessions.
2nd and 6, Highsmith back into the offensive set for Miami, and Testaverde to throw. Perryman has it at the 42-yard line. He was hit and held on, and he picks up 13 as Eddie Johnson made the defensive play. But an excellent reception by Brett Perryman. Perryman and Brian Blades will alternate at that one spot as receivers. Between them, they have 52 receptions. And we have come to the end of the first quarter. The score is Miami nothing and Penn State nothing in the battle for number 1. Play of this drive. It was 3rd and 16 at the 3-yard line. Testaverde to throw. Pressure coming from Bob White.
Well, most athletes, or most quarterbacks aren't great athletes. I think we'll talk to Bob about that in just a few minutes.
You're in trouble.
But Vinny Testaverde bench presses 325 pounds. One of the things that Joe Paterno told us this week was that he was concerned that his defensive lineman getting close to Testaverde, the tendency of a defensive back is to get away from the wide receiver. There's no way they think that the sack will not be made, but Testaverde runs out of people's grasp and does it very well. That was a big play in this drive, getting them out of their own territory.
He picked up 21 yards and the first down. Here's a play-action fake, and it is too high, and it is incomplete as he overthrows Melvin Bratton and trying just a little touch throw. And Bob Greasy, I have the feeling it's a strange first quarter that we saw.
Charlie, you mentioned a little earlier that Paterno wanted to get into the mind of Testaverde, and one of the ways he's doing it is he's taking away everything deep. He has 3 men sitting deep. Testaverde would have to sit back there 10 seconds for one of his receivers to run past him. The other thing he's doing is occasionally he is blitzing 1 or 2 linebackers, so he's mixing it up. But the thing he is doing is taking away any big plays.
Testaverde has hit 7 of 12 for 91 yards. 2nd down and 10. Here's the draw. And Highsmith to the 41. So he has a couple. And it's going to be 3rd down and 8. Let's look at the statistics of that strange first quarter. Rushing yardage, Miami 42-4.
And look at
91 to 3. And look at the time of possession.
That's the big factor there. The passing team, the University of Miami, you would think that they would not have the time of possession on their side, but they are dominating that statistic.
Shows how expert we are. We thought it'd be exactly the other way, and if it was this way, Miami would be leading by 2 touchdowns. 3rd down and 8. No score in the ball game. Opening moments of the second quarter. Testaverde, all the time in the world. And goes deep to Brett. It's intercepted. Duffy Cobb to the 25 and returns to the 30-yard line. 15 yards on the return, and Duffy Cobb's his 5th interception. He had 4 during the season. And he has both turnovers for the Nittany Lions. He has the fumble recovery and the interception.
Now, what's Vinny Testaverde doing? You know, those shoving matches, that's supposed to be between big guys, linebacker types. But I told you, he's an athlete, and he gets mixing it up in the middle. He gets a little greedy here. He's got Brian Blades, number 9, wide open. There you see him, bottom of your screen to the right. But he doesn't go to him. He wants the big shot down the middle to Melvin Bratton, and it's Duffy Cobbs who takes it away, his 2nd turnover of the day.
The 30-yard line, Penn State in their own territory. 1st down and no score. And Schaefer with pressure. And he goes deep. Has a man. He's there. Overthrows him. Roundtree could not get to it. Maybe a step away from 6 points. This does not look like Penn State.
No, it doesn't. Those wide receivers aren't supposed to get the black shoes on. I don't think anybody told them that. They're not supposed to be able to run past cornerbacks, but he had it wide open on the corner, getting behind the coverage. And a good throw would have gotten it. Don Ellis, number 29, the best Miami man-to-man cover, beaten by Roundtree on that play.
Darryl Giles has come in. Jerry Hugg has come in. They're now the 2 wide receivers. And it's 2nd and 10, and the give is to the first back, and that's Tim Manoa. And there's Testaverde on the phone with the coaches. George Meyer Jr., the leading tackler for the game, making the last stop.
This will be a game of patience for Vinny Testaverde. That defense of Penn State Nittany Lions, they're gambling a lot. They're gambling that with the short passing game, they'll give them that, and that they're going to cough the football up. Well, Miami has done that thus far, but how long will it last?
A gain of 5 to the 35, and it's 3rd and 5 as Pomfret, one of the 2 tight ends, is in motion. Here's pressure, and he hangs it up and out of bounds, way overthrowing Pomfret. And I think Schaefer was just running out of time. Stubbs and Brown were putting the pressure on him. It's going to be 4th down and 5. So Penn State unable to capitalize on the turnover.
They go with the play-action fake on 3rd and 5. I just don't understand it. Who are you going to pull to pretend you're going to run the football in this situation? He throws it far out of bounds, but it was the pressure from Stubbs on the outside that forced Schaefer to get rid of the ball a little bit earlier than maybe he wanted to.
And John Bruno with his 4th punt. David Kintai set for the return. And putting the pressure on was Bubba McDowell. A great punt. Taken back at the 14-yard line. Out to the 20. A flag is down. 2 flags are down. The return near the 25-yard line. Quintus McDonald made the stop. John Bruno with a 47-yard kick. Kintai with a 10-yard return, and we have a pair of flags down.
51-yard punt.
And it's going to be a clipping call against the Canes.
Preliminary
indication clipping against Miami.
And so Miami will start this time from their own 11-yard line.
And it's the kicking game that continually puts Miami back in the hole.
Jimmy Harper, the referee, the officials all from the Southeastern Conference. And we've got a timeout with 13:06. That is the time remaining in the first half, and we have no score between Miami and Penn State.
Look to northwest.
Look who gives you Asia after only 60,000 miles. Europe after only 40,000 miles. And the continental United States after just 20,000 miles. Look whose frequent flyer program serves up the world faster than any other airline.
Look to us, northwest. To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
Here's 6'5" and 210 it is. Testaverde is big enough. Giftopoulos comes in and starts a shoving match, and then he takes up for his offensive lineman.
Did you ever do that to anybody?
All my offensive linemen were big enough to take care of themselves.
Miami has the ball at their own 11-yard line, first down, 13:06, time remaining in the second quarter. Shane Conlon has been replaced now by Keith Karpinski. Conlon, you know, with a little knee problem earlier in the ball game. Warren Williams is in the offensive set as a running back for the Canes. The second back is Williams. And he's to the 17. We'll give him about 6. It's going to be 2nd down and 4. Ray Bauer making the tackle. Mike Russo was also there. Tim Johnson is back in the ball game defensively. Here are the scoring opportunities of Miami.
They've been moving the football there. You see in the middle 34, 38, 50 yards on their possessions, but it's where they're starting that's giving them problems. Well inside their own territory on 3 occasions.
2nd down and 4. Testaverde to throw. Has time. Then he steps forward. He's going to run for it for the second time in the ball game, and he dives at the 20, and they'll mark it down at the 20-yard line. So he picks up 3. He's going to be a yard shy of the first down, and it was his old friend Pete Giftopoulos, number 90, and he had that talking conversation with him earlier, who was there for Penn State.
That offensive line of Miami, give them credit. That was the patchwork group that the coaching staff of the Hurricanes had been worried about the whole time. Pete Giftopoulos there, you see, making the tackle later on. But that offensive line of the Hurricanes doing quite a job protecting Testaverde. He simply doesn't have any receivers open downfield.
Two tight ends on the set, 3rd and 1. Trying to dive the left side was Highsmith. And he needed a yard, and I'm not sure if he got it. And the officials are going to bring the chains out for the measurement. You saw the headshot just a moment ago of Pete Giftopoulos. You may have noticed he's from Hamilton, Ontario. And he wants to be a hockey coach.
And he played under Canadian rules when he was up there in high school. 12 men on the field, 120-yard field, although they did have 4 downs when he was playing high school football there instead of the 3 owned by the CFL. Do we have the first down? We do, by just a little bit.
At the 21-yard line. And Miami continues to control the clock, whereas you thought that would be Penn State controlling the clock, or at least trying to. But the Miami defense has taken the offense completely out of the hands of the Nittany Lions. Time remaining in the first half. No score. Here's Williams. Slides to the outside. Has a yard. That's about it. Maybe 2 as Shane Conlon was there. They're going to mark it at the 22.
Conlon, number 31, back into the football game. We mentioned the knee problem early on, but he takes on the offensive lineman. Number 73, Dave Alekna, getting stiffed by Shane Conlon. He looks healthy on that play.
2nd and 9, and a look at the All-America from Frewsburg, New York. Testaverde, and it is there to Brian Blades. And Blades down at the 32-yard line. He'll pick up 10 and should have the first down en route as Duffy Cobbs makes the tackle. Duffy seems to be everywhere. Are they picking on him?
I don't think they're picking on him. He's also almost 20 yards off the ball. He's not going to allow anyone to run past him. Like, as we said earlier, Penn State is playing that gambling type of a defense. They're saying, we'll give you those short passing things. We're going to come up and make the tackle and hopefully cough the ball up. But I don't know if that's good enough to beat Miami tonight. How many times are they going to cough it up? They're very good in the turnover department, only giving up 21 all year long.
It's a first down at the 33-yard line. And here's Highsmith.
Highsmith, the ball carrier. Tackled by number 35, Trey Bauer.
A gain of a yard to the 34. It'll be 2nd down and 9 as Trey Bauer makes the tackle.
Pickup of a yard on the play.
Paterno pacing the sideline.
34-yard line.
His overall record, 198 victories. This could be 199, or it could be his 45th loss, or it could be his 3rd tie. Brian Blades on the receiving end of a Testaverde pass at the 47-yard line. A pickup of a quick 13 and the first down as Duffy Cobbs again makes the defensive play, and the Canes now all of a sudden have a quick strike offense underway. You got to watch him here.
Once again, it's the arm of Testaverde. Some of the pro scouts were telling me early on that they think Testaverde has a stronger arm and quicker feet than Jim Kelly or Kozar, the 2 people that were here before him at the University of Miami. And certainly that's good enough to show that he's going to be the #1 draft choice this year. We've got a flag down on the field.
The official spotted the ball at the 46-yard line on that first down. And here's Jimmy Harper. Dead ball foul. It's going to be illegal procedure against the Canes. They've gotten hit with that penalty a couple of times previously in the ballgame, and it'll cost them 5. Let's look at that time of possession.
Ball down on the Canes 41-yard line.
And that just goes to show that the gambling defense of Penn State. Miami is settling for the shorty passing game. Testaverde has got to continue to do that, to be more patient, take what Penn State is giving them. They'll continue to build up that time of possession and move down the field if they can hang on to the football.
First down and 15. And here comes pressure. And he picks up the blitz, and the pass is incomplete. Brian Blades, the intended receiver.
Brian Blades, incomplete. Covering on the play.
The Miami front 7 blocked absolutely everybody. There you see the blitz coming from the middle. I think that Blades ran this pattern just a little bit too long. When you have that type of a pressure, probably Blades was the hot receiver on the side. He's got to run a shorter pattern to adjust for the pressure. Testaverde was waiting on him and waiting on him. He finally had to release the ball because pressure was on his way.
Testaverde down 9 of 16, 114 yards, and 1 interception. Second down. And Vinny to throw again. Over the middle, this one is dropped in and out of the hands of Warren Williams. Should have had that. Very catchable ball.
From the 41-yard.
Getting back to Bob Greasy's point a little bit before, this time Testaverde does not seem to throw the football too hard. Williams simply drops it. But it is a tendency of a quarterback waiting for that big football game to come around with a little bit of too much on the arm action. That time, though, Williams simply dropped it.
The Canes now with 3 wide receivers, Perryman, Blades, and Irvin. 3rd down and 15. Penn State with a 3-man rush. To the sideline, it is Williams, and he is going to come up short of the first down. He'll pick up 11. He needed 15, and Duffy Cobbs makes the tackle. They're going to spot it at the 47-yard line in Penn State territory. And Jeff Beagles is in to punt. This is his first punt. He, by the way, is from Scottsdale, Arizona, right here in the Valley of the Sun. We asked you if that was did he have home field advantage? And what did he say?
He said the only thing he did was tell the van driver where to go because they were lost sometime going to a banquet.
On the return, it is Jim Coates with the fair catch for Penn State. And 34 yards on the punt by Jeff Beagles. We've got a timeout, and we have no score in the battle for number 1.